The following presentation is intended for training, academic, and security awareness purposes only. The creation and deployment of malware for the purpose of exploitation is a crime and can be punishable by fines and imprisonment. The producer of this video in no way endorses or encourages the use of malware and exploitation tools outside of the scope and venue of this presentation. In our current cyber landscape, there are two fundamental ways that a malicious hacker can get into your computer or server. They can attack you from the outside by exploiting weak spots in your network infrastructure or your security, or lack thereof. Or the attacker can get inside with unintended help from the victim. Attacking from the outside requires high-level knowledge of network technologies and operating systems. It also requires a rather large repository of exploit programs or code which can be customized upon demand. It requires a deployment system of some kind in order to send it to the intended victim. It can also require a considerable amount of patience and trial and error to achieve a successful entry. Attacking from inside relies heavily on trickery and redirection. The end goal of this vector of attack is to convince the victim to either click on something he or she shouldn't click on, or to allow something into your computing environment that you should not trust. We all search for things on the web, and we all like to get things without having to pay for them. These are two of the motives that are exploited by hackers in order to trick you into allowing malware onto your system. All attacks of this nature require malware of some kind to be employed in one way or another. The way in which these executable Trojans are deployed and executed is up to the creative design and engineering of the hackers. In this presentation, we're going to create a piece of Trojan malware and then use it to gain entry into a Windows 8.1 machine that has both firewall and antivirus running. It should be noted that most demonstrations of this kind require that you turn off Windows Firewall, antivirus, and all other security features that are running on your system. One point of this presentation is to demonstrate that you should not rely solely on antivirus solutions and malware scanners as your security measures. Despite the many claims made by various vendors of antivirus and malware removal products, these applications are in the end only about 38% effective at keeping you free of malicious code running on your computers. Let's begin the presentation. In this section, we're going to create a custom payload. A payload in this context means more specifically a piece of Trojan malware that will be used to gain unauthorized remote access to a victim host. The tool that we'll be using to create our malware is called Veil Evasion. Veil Evasion is part of the Veil framework, which also includes Veil Ordnance, Veil Catapult, and Veil Pillage. The modus operandi of Veil Evasion is to create a custom file as an end product that uses encryption within a Python executable file to avoid signature detection. Many antivirus products identify and eradicate foreign malware by their signatures. These are usually their MD5 or SHA-256 hash values. In short, if the signature is not in the antivirus's repository, then it won't know what the malware is. When a piece of malware claims to be fully undetectable, often that undetectable part has a relatively short lifespan. Once it has been analyzed by applications such as VirusTotal or other scanners, and has the malware's profile sent to several repositories, it no longer becomes fully undetectable. Veil Evasion is a menu-driven application written in Python. Its finished product is a Python executable file that can be deployed to a target computer to be used for exploitation. Veil evasion is integrated with the Metasploit framework, so once a target has been exploited using the deployed Trojan, Metasploit can create an interpreter session to gain entry into the compromised machine. Veil evasion comes with a lot of customizing possibilities available within it, but we will be using the defaults. We're currently on the main menu screen. There are currently 50 different available payloads within Veil evasion. As the developers continue through progressive versions, that number will increase. From the primary menu screen, type in the word list and hit enter. You can now see the 50 currently available types of malware packages that are available. Each one of these malware packages offers different language encoding, methods of attack, and available payloads offered to the attacker. For example, some of these packages use Python, some Ruby, some PowerShell. We will be using the option that employs DES, or Data Encryption Standard Encryption. At the menu prompt, type 39 and then hit the Enter key. At the following screen, you're given a number of options for customization. Here we'll simply type the word generate and then hit the Enter key. At the next screen, you're given 3 options of how to generate the actual computer code for the end product. The last 2 options are for customized malware. Option 1, MSF Venom, is the default. Enter 1 at the prompt and then hit Enter. This next prompt allows you to select a desired payload. One of the most popular payloads and the choice by default is the reverse TCP interpreter. The interpreter is a means by which an attacker can interact with a victim's host environment. It behaves in many ways similar to a traditional Windows DOS shell. However, the interpreter gives the attacker a large number of ready-made tools to spy on or steal from the victim. It is called a reverse interpreter because it is going to connect back to us, the attackers. We are simply going to hit Enter here, which will give us the default reverse TCP interpreter as our payload. At the prompt where it asks to enter a value for lhost for local IP, you need to enter your local IP address. Lhost stands for local host. This is going to be the address where the listener will be executed. We can accept the default local IP by simply hitting the Tab key. Once this populates with the local IP address, hit Enter. The next prompt is going to ask you for the port number that you wish to use. You can accept the default by once again just clicking the Tab button. Veil evasion will use a value of 4444 as the default port number. Go ahead and hit Enter. And then go ahead and hit Enter one more time. At this point, Veil evasion is generating the code for our malware. We're going to accept the default name given to the malware file, so we'll hit the Enter key here. At this point, you're offered 3 options for creating the executable file. Type 1 at the prompt for PyInstaller and hit Enter. At this point, sit back and wait until Veil evasion has finished generating the finished malware executable file. When Veil is finished, you'll see at the top, executable written to user/share/veil output/compiled/payload.exe. This is where we'll find our executable file that we'll deploy to our victim machine. In the following section, I'll retrieve the Trojan malware file and I'll infect the Windows 8.1 machine with it. In order to retrieve your newly created malware, navigate to the following folder in Kali Linux: User, Share, Veil Output, Compiled. The executable file has the default name of Payload. You can rename it to whatever you wish at this point, it won't really matter. Normally a file such as this is going to be bound with some other media file such as a movie, an MP3, or a game in order to entice a victim into opening the file. The media file would open as expected and would serve as a distraction while the Trojan file executes quietly in the background. For our purposes, I'm simply going to copy the Trojan and place it onto the desktop of my Windows 8.1 machine. In the following section, I'll activate the listener in Metasploit framework and then I'll execute the malware. I'm now going to start the listener within Metasploit and then execute the Trojan so that it will make a connection back to the listener. You can start the Metasploit framework in Kali by bringing up a terminal window and typing msf console. To start the listener, type use exploit multi-handler at the Metasploit command prompt. Go ahead and hit enter. Next, go ahead and type in exploit. The listener is started and is now waiting on the connection information from the source Trojan. As you can see, a connection has now been established. We now have a Meterpreter session with our victim. This is despite having a Windows Firewall and Windows Defender turned on, also using Panda Cloud Antivirus. In the next section, I'll demonstrate a few elements of post-exploitation using the Meterpreter. In a prior video, I demonstrated how to take screen captures and how to set up a keystroke logger using the Meterpreter. In this video, I'll demonstrate a few other features. First, if you simply type in help, you'll get a complete list of all the tools within Meterpreter that you can use. If you type in sysinfo, you can get information about the victim computer. If you type in show mount, you can get information about all of the devices that are connected to the victim computer. If you'd like to look for some specific kinds of files, you could use a search command. Here's another feature you've probably already heard of. It's the webcam pirating tool. Whenever many people think about hacking personal computers, this is the one thing that comes to most people's minds, as they fear the privacy is being invaded by a voyeur. As you can see, the Meterpreter is quite a powerful payload tool. Just think about this the next time that you download free game samples from an untrusted website.